What up, guys? In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to achieve your goals. So let's just get straight into it. I think it's quite fitting because it's almost 2026, and most people set resolutions, but they don't really follow through on them, or they give up halfway through. So let's explain why that is. And I made this video for like that young, ambitious, go-getter hustler who just like wants to go towards the thing and go towards their goals, but fall short or just get distracted, and why that is. So I actually made a video way back when, like 5 years ago, called how to get whatever you want. And in this video, I kind of talk about this concept of RAS, which is your reticular activation system. And what that is it's a part of your brain that is like a filter that filters information. So basically what I talk about in that video is, if you just think about your goal, let's say this is your goal, let's say this is you, if you can just think about it, right, eventually that's actually bringing you closer to your goals, because your brain will start to scan your environment for opportunities. It will, let's say you meet someone that can help you on your goal, your brain will register it, things like that. You will kind of bring into your life the things that you think about, which is true. I actually think it's pretty accurate, but it's not the full story, right? And this is the same concept as like law of attraction, which I also think is true, but it's not the full story. And a lot of people just think like, oh, if I think about getting $1 million, I'm gonna get $1 million. Like, that's not the case, bro. Like, it's fucking way more to it than that, obviously. But here's where I think it gets it wrong. It's that it's not like you get what you think about. It's that you get what you are being. You get what you are. Like, if you are the type of person who makes $1 million a month, like you have the same thoughts, you do the same actions, then it's only a matter of time that you'll start making $1 million a month. It's just that's how it works. But it's not that, oh, if I just think about $1 million, I'll get it. No, you actually have to become the type of person where that's normal. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's the gist of it. But let me explain in further detail. Like, okay, so this is you, and like you have this goal that you want to achieve. Maybe let's say it's like, could be financial. Maybe you're trying to make $1 million a month. Let's just use that. Or you're trying to travel the world while you work your job. So you're trying to find like a side hustle to do that. Or like you're trying to get a girlfriend. You're trying to get a partner, make some friends maybe. Like, these are all your goals. Whatever. You have a specific goal that you want to accomplish. You think it's as simple as just going there and just taking the steps that'll get you there, right? And it is that simple. In theory, it's simple. Like, you just that's actually how it works. You just have a goal and you take the steps to achieve that goal, and you'll eventually accomplish it. The problem is that this is not the only thing that you think about, right? There's a lot of things in your day that you also want to do. Yeah, you want to accomplish your goal, but you also just want to chill out and watch TV and watch YouTube. You also just want to work out, so that's like an hour a day. Just work out, get jacked. You also want to be healthy. You want to eat good, so maybe you want to like cook your food, or you make your food, whatever, meal prep. You also want to hang out with your friends. You want to hang out with the boys, whatever. You want to hang out with your girlfriend. You want to spend time with your dog, your cat. All these things throughout your day. You have your job. Let's say you work a fucking 9 to 5. Oh man, you gotta spend time on your laptop working your job. It's like you have all these other things. So how are you gonna reach that goal of being? You can already see the problem, right? There's like all these other things that are pulling at you, and that's just one thing. There's another thing I like to call like negative intents, which is like you have these positive intents, which is like, oh, I want to be healthy. I want to spend time on my health, which is positive because it's like adding to your life, but it's also still negative because it's not getting you exactly where you want to go. But then you have strictly negative intents, which are things that are like straight up just pulling you back. So these are things like the fear of looking stupid. So maybe the goal that you have involves you taking a risk in looking stupid. Maybe you want to meet your potential wife. You gotta go through a lot of girls. You gotta find the one that's for you, and so you risk rejection. So maybe you're afraid of rejection. You're scared of looking stupid. Maybe you're scared of change. You're comfortable. You kind of like these things. So you don't really want to spend so much time doing this thing, because maybe you're also afraid of the cortisol, the stress. Because here's the thing, working hard, or not even working hard, just like sitting down and thinking burns cortisol, like burns energy. It creates cortisol when you have to sit down and like focus for a couple hours. I don't know why no one talks about this, but like literally just sitting down and chipping away at your goals, if it's like kind of, there's gonna be a lot of monotonous, boring parts to it, and it's gonna be very tough. So it's like, honestly, it's like working out like a muscle. Like I think that if you just work out your brain, like you just sit through a lot of boring stuff, you eventually can tolerate more boring stuff and it makes things easier. But you have to first actually like sit through boring shit, if that makes sense. But anyways, you have all these negative intents that are pulling you back, and you also have all these other things that are like distracting you from the main thing that you want to get done. And so the other problem is that you have like only so much energy in a day. Let's say that this is like your energy bar, and when you wake up every day you have all this energy, but throughout your day you use it on things, right? You use your time and energy on different things. Maybe you spend this much time just getting your day started. You have a little daily morning routine. You read a book. Maybe you want to spend some time working out, so you gotta spend some energy and time working out. You spend some time eating and cooking food. Like that's a big one. Like if you guys never gone fasting before, if you realize like every time I fast, I realize how much more time I have, because so much of your day is like spent eating food or thinking about food or like making food. So it's like you have this whole amount of time just like making food. Maybe you want to like hang out with your friends or your girlfriend. Maybe you want to like do something. You want to read books. You want to self-develop, whatever. Like you gotta spend time on that. Take some courses. And now all of a sudden you have like this much time and energy actually towards your goals. Oh, and I didn't even mention, like, let's say you have a job, like you work a 9 to 5. Like now most of this is like spend at your job. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're now even more, you gotta catch up and do all these other, like you gotta work out, you gotta fit a workout in, you gotta make food, and you have even less time for your big dream. You know what I'm saying? So you're kind of stuck. And this is why I love doing life audits, is because you realize how fucked you are. Before you do a life audit, you're living in a little delusional state where you think like, oh yeah, like eventually I'll accomplish my dreams. But then when you actually break it down, you're like, wait, how is this gonna happen? It's not possible. I literally don't have any time to spend towards my dream. Or if I do, I have like this little sliver of time. And so it's gonna take me like 10 years to make $1 million? Like what the fuck is gonna happen? So yeah, it's kind of, I really highly recommend every year, or every quarter, just like doing a life audit and seeing how you're spending your day, how you're spending your time, because you realize how far off the goal you are. And so right off the bat, you can already see if you want to achieve your goals, it requires cutting some of these things, right? You gotta sacrifice some things. And the reality is you gotta sacrifice a lot of things, I think, honestly. Well, I mean, it depends on how fast you want to achieve your goals, but like realistically, there's only like one or two things you should really focus on, you know what I'm saying, on a day-to-day. And that's why people like Alex Hormozi talks about having different seasons of your life, which I fully agree with. It's like we try to strive for balance all the time, and I'm guilty of this, of like I want to lift weights, I want to eat healthy, I want to like read books, I want to do all these things, but I also want to like build a really great business. And it's like, because I want to do all these things and be balanced, it's like I'm putting all my effort and everything's growing like this. But sometimes in life, it's better, you go way further if you can have just like moments of just deep focus on one or two things. So like maybe you spend no time working out, no time eating right, no time hanging out, but then you spend all this time working on your business and maybe this much time on like, I don't know, some other thing. So like now instead of doing all these small things and moving things forward just by a little bit, you can just take seasons of your life and spend maybe a month just fully focused on your business. I think that's fine. I don't see any problem with that. Now, I'm not saying that's how you should live your life. I'm not living my life like that right now. In fact, I'm living a little bit more balanced right now. But realistically, if I like this is the pathway on how to actually achieve your goals. If you want to speed run your goals, reach your goals in like a month, you just do it like this. You just sprint and eliminate everything, right? The other thing is you can just increase your energy level, which is something I think people are underutilizing. You know what I'm saying? Like if you just eat clean, get the right nutrients in, get a lot of good sleep, high quality sleep, I guess like work out and stuff, you can increase your energy and amount of focus and energy to really put into your goals. So that's another thing. I still think that just eliminating things is a simpler way. You can do both, but that's the bread and butter. And another thing you got a trap that will happen, you'll find, is like if you eliminate one thing, you gotta be very careful because you just created a vacuum, like this empty space that you're gonna unconsciously fill with something else instead of funneling it back into your goal. That's one thing I noticed when I did like a dopamine detox recently. I cut out all short form kind of like YouTube reels and fucking all that shit. I thought I'd spend a lot more time on my business, right? Like that's what you would think. But what actually ends up happening is I end up spending a lot more time on Substack, which is like this app for like articles and stuff. I started reading a lot more of these random articles, and yeah, I guess it's better than like short form content, but it's like, bro, I'm still wasting time doing this instead of like funneling it where I wanted to funnel it. So it's like you have to catch when you're doing shit like that. Everything you eliminate has to be replaced because then you just end up with empty time. So you have to consciously take from this and put it towards this. Okay, so that's another thing I would say. And then all of this shit, you just want to get rid of as much as you can, man. All this fucking baggage, like this, I think requires identity level kind of change, right? You just have to stop having these things hold you back. If you look at how your life even is, it's almost like a pyramid. So at the bottom of the pyramid, you have your identity, right? Your ID. Your identity is like how you view yourself, your self-concept. Like, I am the type of person that does this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like, this is who you are. This is who you think you are. If you're like a pro athlete, you just view yourself as a pro athlete. If you're just if you think of yourself as like a 5 out of 10, then that's how you view yourself. You're a 5 out of 10. And then you're going to create beliefs and thoughts that are resonant with that identity. The next level up is your beliefs. These are like things that you don't even question. These are like your cornerstone ways of viewing the world, right? These are your frame of reality, right? And from there, create your thoughts. So these are like your day-to-day thoughts. You can have an infinite amount of thoughts. I mean, generally, most of your thoughts today are the same thoughts you had yesterday. But you could, in theory, have an infinite amount of thoughts. You could be thinking about all types of things, but you're not. Your beliefs create the type of thoughts that you have, right? One belief creates like a million different thoughts. So if you don't even view yourself as like a successful entrepreneur, you're not gonna have the beliefs that that person would have, that kind of self-agency, whatever. And then because of that, you're not gonna have the certain thoughts of like, oh, I should be doing this. Oh, I want to learn about fucking my market. I want to learn about economics, all these random bullshit things. You're not going to think about learning these things. You instead think about fucking, how am I going to get better at Warzone or whatever the fuck, you know? So you have your identity, you have your beliefs create your thoughts create your actions. So these are the things that you actually do. Whether you actually spend time in deep work or spend time at the gym or spend time just on your phone, your thoughts create your actions. And your actions create your life. So everything in your life right now is a result of the actions that you took and the thoughts that you had, and ultimately like the beliefs that you held, right? And at the very bottom, it's the identity of who you are that changed all of that. Because here, your life, this is like the results that you have in your life. Let's say the actions that you took was you made sales calls 5 hours a day. Eventually, you would get very good at sales calls because the actions of taking sales calls would give you more give you the result of being on sales calls, which would give you the reps of learning how to do sales, of being a better salesperson, overcoming objections, and just you'd actually get more sales. And so you could see how your actions would influence your results here. But all these things influence the next layer up. And so the biggest domino piece in terms of like changing your life is just changing your identity. If you can change your identity, you change everything else above it, right? So that's, to going back to this, is like, it's gonna be hard to get rid of these things. A lot of these things are subconscious. You're not even aware of these things. So once you can make these things aware, you have to realize, like, I don't want to be that person anymore that fucking is afraid of rejection, is afraid of fucking failure. And you really have to take on the identity of someone who doesn't give a fuck about those things. You know, I think that it stems from identity level change. I could go on. I think I want to make this video shorter though, so I won't go too deep into it. But yeah, just take on that person who is living the life that you want. A great book on identity level change is this book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. It's really good. He's like a plastic surgeon who, like, he noticed when he would do plastic surgery on people, their face would change, but as a consequence of that, the downstream effect is that their whole life would change because the way they view themselves changed. You know what I'm saying? So that's a great book on that. Hope you gained something out of that. This is a very simple understanding of how you can achieve your goals. Now take action on it. I would, first of all, if you don't already know what you want to accomplish, come up with that, and then now just break down those steps and kind of uncover the subconscious things that are holding you back. And then take on the new identity of who's the type of person who's naturally, effortlessly has these things, right? On another level up, eventually, this is like one paradigm of thinking, but you eventually want to get it to the point where like all your goals are like a magnet, where you're just naturally pulled towards them. You're not having any effort to achieve them, you know, and that comes with over time of just getting to know yourself and knowing who you are and like what's the kind of mission you want to attach your life purpose to. That is the higher level way of going about life, just going down the stream of life instead of having to use your paddles all the time. And like, yeah, anyways, I'm gonna make this video too long, so I'm just gonna end it there. Hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you in the next one, man.